Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really appreciated to stand here to presentation. My name is Xiaoming Li, and my group member is Yifu Xin Kwong. Today, we are going to analyze the case from culture shock. This is our outline. I will talk about introduction and issues, and my partner will explain some solution and recommendation, as well as risks. This is case study of what happened to executive in auto supplier company in the US and its Japanese branch. Since Warren Oates was a very active employee in the American company, he met with the company's management soon after arrived in Tokyo. However, he was unhappy with his Japanese executives, whether it was the language barrier or inefficiency. Just as he was ready to return to the US, he changed their minds. Then he learned about Japanese etiquette and attitude towards women. Warren Oates is also step by step learning the Japanese way of doing business, which is to slow down. First, establish a good relationship with customer. Then purpose cooperation and work efficiency. Although this way of doing things was difficult for us, the Hamburg learning experience was valuable. Oates could become constant for other executives who needed to learn the lessons he was beginning to understand. The first issue with this case is that Oates went to Tokyo without understanding the diversity of language and culture. Language is significant in non-negative countries, and there will be many mistakes if the language cannot be communicated. In addition, cultural difference may lead to unnecessary misunderstanding. Oates thought he only needed an interpreter. In fact, the translator did not achieve the desired effect and wasted a lot of time. The second problem is Oates' attitude, both to Japanese executive and to doing other things. He thinks Japanese managers are slow to get things done and spend too much time on small things to keep them him. The Japanese company's way is completely opposite to that is in the US, where he can accomplish very quickly, which is why he becomes a sales champion and even an executive. The last issue is personality and job satisfaction. Before Tokyo, Oates had a high degree of job satisfaction. Now that he has encountered a difficulty, his first thought is to give up rather than solve the problem. Even though he's a manager, for example, he wanted to return to the US after working for a week in the Japanese branch because he couldn't fit into the Japanese executive ways. If he hadn't changed his mind later, he wouldn't have come back to America. Then, my partner will explain some solution and recommendation, as well as risk.
Hello everyone, I'm Yifu Xin and I'll be presenting the solutions, recommendation, and the risks of the issues that my partner has presented. The first solution is to be prepared when you have something big coming up. Being prepared is to know what you are going to talk about and know the background of the person you are talking about beforehand so that you can also show a good first impression to your partner. Being prepared is never a bad habit as this can minimize the possible mistakes that can appear, and proper kinds of preparations allows you to improvise and have a fruitful, meaty conversation with your client. But the con is that when you are overly prepared, it could paralyze you since you can learn wrong information, which can lead into a bigger problem, or you no longer have the confidence to face something that you are not prepared with and scared to make a mistake, which can make you lose momentum and opportunities. Because when you are always prepared with something, you are always relying on this thing that you prepared. So when you face something that you're not prepared with, you don't know how to improvise. So this can be a big problem for you. The second solution is to give self-empowerment to fix you and your own problems. Self-empowerment is to fix your own attitude, and to be self-empowered is to have a grip and control of our own life to become more powerful. Motivating ourselves is also very important to give ourselves more strength, and it is also known to be that motivation can help with culture shocks, as motivation is linked to resilience, and highly resilient individuals are less affected by these kinds of changes. Moreover, training ourselves to become more agreeable and to have a more positive attitude can help when trying to network in a new culture or location. When we become more submissive and are trying to be more self-motivated, attitudes towards the new culture and the new job can slowly change over time. Self-empowerment is a strength in networking in business, as this feeling of empowerment to interact and learn to accept other cultures can reduce the tension between the different sides. Anyhow, the weakness would be that if we become too submissive and is very motivated to take on a job, there is a high chance to be taken advantage of by the colleagues in the workforce. The third solution is to get trained to be open-minded. When moving to a new culture or a new geographic location, which is very completely different from your old location, it is very important to be open-minded when meeting new people. We should be very open-minded to deal with the culture shock and need to open to accept new cultural norms and listen to people and explore. To be open-minded, we need to open our eyes, listen to everyone, and be aware of the new situations. To be open, it is also important to have emotional stability and be calm and confident instead of being negative and depressed. The strength is that open-minded people adapt and grow faster, and the weakness is that the different cultures have different cultural norms, and being too open-minded and taking actions can give a bigger shock to the client. The recommendation that we're going to use is Solution 1. Solution 1, we can suggest that Warren Oates and his wife should have came prepared beforehand going to Japan. And in being prepared, as in he can bring his own team for interpreting, since he thinks that the interpreting team from Japan is not up to his rate, he can come prepared with his own team. And as this is a new culture for him, and he's from the Western world and coming to the Eastern world, he should have learned some cultural norms and phrases and the basic culture of the place that he's going to visit, so that it is easier for him to communicate to his client, and also it'll be a very good first impression. He should also use basic language and visual communications in this presentation, as less words can be used to convey, and then these visual representations can convey bigger meanings, and it'll be easier for the other party to understand, and which will also decrease the time for the interpreter to interpret the message that they want to tell. The risk of using this solution is that misconducting cultural code can lead to bigger mistakes and become rude in front of the new culture, and as the other side would not be comfortable with it, which might make them get more disappointed. And if Warren Oates is overly prepared, he might have high expectations of Japanese company, so when he onto the real meeting is not up to his standard, he might be more disappointed than now. So that's just like what happened in the real situation, the current situation, as he thinks that they can speak English. So when he went there and the rate is not up to his standard, he is disappointed. So just like that, if he is overly prepared about more things, there might be more things that he is disappointed in. So when he is disappointed, he can leave a very bad impression, and this can portray wrong meaning towards the other party, since they don't understand each other, and the other group culture and their norm is different from Warren Oates. So it will be very hard for networking across the different countries with the different culture. Thank you.